Do you drive a Nissan Titan, Armada, or something else with a Nissan VK56 engine in it? Are your valve cover gaskets leaking? If so, you're in the right place. Okay, first off, let's talk about valve cover gaskets and them leaking. I want you to see all that oil buildup right there on that vent hose. You see how dirty that is down in there. And then another thing that you will notice is after you drive for a while, the smell of burning smell.
Damn, it just smells whack.
And that's because the oil's coming out of the valve cover gasket and it's leaking down on your exhaust manifolds. Rather than purchasing the factory, they're like some kind of a composite material or plastic valve covers, I went to eBay and I bought these aluminum units. They come with gaskets. They come with new PCV valves. They come with, this is a new oil fill cap and all new bolts. It was a little over $100. I'll put the link somewhere. It'll be in the description or on the screen. And while I'm here, I also purchased a whole new vent hose kit because all those hoses are kind of old and crumbly and not good. I got this entire vent hose kit from Z1 Off-Road. Now, it was a little costly. It was like $75 or so. I'll put a link to that somewhere. But it literally has every pre-bent hose, their Nissan part numbers. There's like stuff you get from the dealer, and it's cheaper than you can get it from the dealer, and it's an entire kit, so you won't miss anything. It's got all the vent hoses, and they sent some other stuff in here. I got some stickers. Not mad about that. Well, let's stop talking about it and get to work. First thing we need to do is get this air intake system out of the way. The air intake is off. You got to remove that little hose there at the back. That's what was hanging me up there at the end. But before I get too deep in here, you need to take a battery cable loose, preferably that ground, because we're having to unplug a bunch of stuff. Okay, we got to start getting all these wires undone and tucked up out of the way on both sides. On this side, you need to take loose all your injectors, all your coils. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a connector back there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, right there. That connector, you got to take it loose, and you have to take loose the vent hoses. Obviously, we're going to replace them. This guy right here. Oh, and one more. You got to take this loose, and we're going to drag all that stuff out of the way. Now that I got those wires out of the way, you see I tucked them up here. You can see a lot better in here. I don't know if it's showing up on camera well. Now I just got to pull the coils out. And then you just grab them and pop them right out. Ain't no oil on that. That's good. Now all the plugs are out. I'm going to start removing all the valve cover gasket bolts. See, like that one, that one, that one. And I think there's 12 of them on each side. Oh, I don't know if you can see that though. I might have to Dr. Phil this thing. It looks like I might be getting wet shortly.
We'll be right back.
Okay, I got all the bolts out, so let's see if I can do this one-handed. I'm gonna grab it. Oh, yes. Grab this. Just work that bad boy right out of there like that. There it is. That sounds cheap. And then come back and grab the valve cover gasket. Y'all, that thing's hard as a brick. Look at it cracking. That's the whole problem right there. So you barely touch it and it cracks. You know, I gotta say, the inside of this engine for 190,000 miles looks pretty doggone good. What I need to do now, I got me a can of brake clean. I'm gonna do some blast along that edge there. Spray a lot of it on the rag. There we go. Get that shot. I'm gonna clean this thing up. Now, I got all that stuff cleaned off, but as you can see, there's still like some residual stuff right here. You get you some of this Scotch-Brite pad and go around, scuff all that stuff up so you can get a nice, decent mating surface for that gasket to get on. You see how that looks different than the other stuff? It's shiny right here. Something else right here in the front, right here, there's silicone where that cap joins that head, and it'll leak out right there, which is why the factory put silicone. So RTV, or what do you want to call it? So you got to dig that stuff out and get that cleaned up, and it's on both sides down there too. Then you have to apply more silicone when you put the new one on. Now I got everything all cleaned up and scuffed up. I'm going to do what we call sensuous maintenance. And that is, since you was already in here, I'll put some plugs in it. I think got some long threads on it. They ain't terrible, but I ain't put these in here, so it's going to have a fresh set before it leaves. I ain't going to let $30 cause a misfire later, since I'm already in here. Ew, and they're auto lights. What kind of savage puts auto lights in a Japanese vehicle? Here is the only thing you put in a Japanese vehicle. Or, no, you can put Denzos in them too, but NGK is what you want in Japanese vehicles. And before somebody gets in my comments, I already pre-gapped them off camera. Plugs are in, everything's clean. We're getting ready to put the new valve cover on there. I want to show you all something. You see this glue stuff? Multi-purpose adhesive. See, this can's old. It's probably 10 years old, but it works great. It ain't something you use every day. But this is a good time to use it. So when you're trying to put that valve cover back in that hole, this gasket can fall out, and then you'll make a big mess, and it'll be a pain in the butt. So what you do is you get your can of this stuff here, and you can, well, fit a spray right. Try not to get it all over the place, but put it in the cracks like that. You're gonna have to wipe off the excess. And what this will do is it'll hold on to that gasket while you're installing this valve cover. And then we'll just let this set up for just a minute. Let's get it stuck in there and let it set up for just a minute. And then I'll come back in a minute, wipe off the excess. Okay, now we're waiting for that glue to set up on the valve cover gasket. We're gonna put a little goopy goop of, see, I got some RTV here. We'll put a little goop goop right here. Turn it loose. And a little goop goop right here, down on the bottom. Now we can gently send this thing home. This is the hard part. I was hanging on that fuel line. This is exactly why I recommend gluing it into the valve cover It's hanging on something else back there. Here it goes. And there it sits. There it is, installed. I'm trying to cut out the boring parts, you know, which is probably this whole thing's boring. But anyway, it looks good. It actually is so shiny that it makes the other aluminum parts in here look dingy. So I didn't use torque specs, but the factory service manual has you tighten them the middle first. They've got like a whole order, but in general, it's like you tighten the middle ones, then you come like the next ones here, and then go. It's like a head gasket. You go here, and then you go here, then you go there. I'm not sure if any of that applies because this is a whole different style of valve cover, but I did it in that way. And as far as torque specs go, I just snugged them up until they bottomed out. If you notice, this has got a shoulder bolt. So kind of like when that shoulder right there hits the top of the head, it's not going to tighten up anymore. So you don't want to tighten them where it'll break, because they will break, but you know, you tighten them till it bottoms out and stop. You don't necessarily have to have a torque wrench. Now you can see you've got all the little provisions that the old valve cover had, like that back there for that wiring harness to clip into. That's pretty dope. I got to put the crankcase vent valve in right here, and then I'm going to try to, I still haven't gotten rating on. I don't know how, but I'm going to continue at it. All right, I got this side completed. You can see all the coils are back in. The valve covers have all the provisions for the little clips. You know, if you bust one of these clips, you can just do the old zip tie on there. I got a PCV valve installed. Things, the fit and finish is pretty good. There's literally a provision for everything, just like it was on the factory valve covers. Good job, China.
It comes from China.
Now on this side, it's probably gonna be a little easier. You've got that big massive wiring harness that's held by that bolt right there. I'm gonna take that bolt out and tie this up, and then do the same. Take these wires off, roll them back, and then I'm probably, just to make things a little easier, I'm going to come and unbolt that bolt, and then there's another bolt right there, and just let this kind of roll forward just to open up some space in there. I'm not going to bore you with all that. I'm just going to turn on some music off camera, and I'm going to work until I get rained on. I still haven't got rained on. I don't know how. All of it went around that way.
We'll be right back again. What the?
All right, picking up where I left off. I got the valve cover off. I already replaced spark plugs. That big wiring harness right there, it's kind of a pain in the butt. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a zip tie on it, and I got it tied off to the heater hoses. There's a ground, and it attaches right down there on the back of the head. That was a pain in the butt. It is quite a bit tighter on this side, so I'm gonna have to hold my mouth right to get that new valve cover back in there. A distinct difference between the driver and passenger side valve covers is the passenger side valve cover has the oil fill on there. And this kit came with this. This is plastic. I don't know how I feel about that, but I think it'll be okay. Well, I'm sure it'll be okay. The old one, the old valve cover was completely plastic, and this part was made onto it. We've got a seal that we need to put in here, like so. Probably wouldn't hurt to glue this one in. Now, I would say do this before you put the valve cover on, because if you drop one of these, there's little screws that come in here. If you drop one of them, you're going to have a bad day, because it'll go right in the top of the engine.
Gonna have a bad time.
Got the seal installed. The kit comes with a bunch of Torx screws and some washers. I'm just going to take and thread these things in. I would recommend, there ain't no directions with this kit, but I'd recommend, you know, getting everything snug and then coming back and kind of doing a crosshatch job on them, like tighten this one, then this one, then this one, and this one. One problem I do see possibly is that this could be another source of a leak, but I still think it's better than those plastic valve covers. Get this thing a little dabble of RTV in the corners, just like I did on the other side. And really the hard part is trying to get this valve cover back in this hole without knocking the gasket off of it. You've got those stand pipes or whatever you want to call them that the spark plugs go in. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that's in the way, and it can, if you drag the bottom of this gasket on anything, it'll knock it right off, even with the glue on it. So I need to get this dipstick out of the way. That'll make things easier. I'm going to gently try to slide it in here. You're going to have a bad day if you knock those gaskets off in the back corner back there. You're going to take it all the way back apart. Get my hand on it. All right. I'm going to get my arm all the way in the back here. Make sure that gasket didn't fall off. It did not. It feels good. I'm going to do the boring part, which is start putting the bolts in and tightening it up. Okay, the valve cover portion of this video is complete. Take a look. It's on there. This valve cover was just like the other one in that it had all the provisions for the wiring harnesses and stuff. I broke a couple of them taking them off. You know, for something that's almost a 20-year-old vehicle, you can expect that. I had to use zip ties way back there in the back. Probably can't see it. Now let's install some vent hoses. All right, let's start with the vent hose portion of this video. This is the easiest part. Got this guy right here, which will run down here to this, back here, and then it goes just like that. See, it's a factory part, so it's got a little white line that'll show you where it needs to be in that clamp. I guess you call that a clamp. That little cutout in the intake there. Okay, that part's easy. I'll have to put a clamp on that in a minute. We've got the little hose, for this side. You see how that thing's bent? Could you run and get some hose that's that size and put it on there? Yeah, you probably could. Probably be cheaper, but you wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't run around things properly. You'd have to make it up as you go. I'm not even sure that's the right one. No, it is not the right one. The one I just showed you is for the driver's side. The passenger side is straighter. Yep, that's it right there. You probably can't see that in the thing. I bet this thing's blocking it, ain't it? I'll show you in a minute. This is literally the easiest part of this job I'm doing today. And get your butt on there. Nope, I don't like the way that looks. I think it goes this way. It does appear to go that way. And yeah, that's good. See, we got a clamp here. This vent hose goes here. I'm not sure if it goes under or over. It appears to go over. I don't think it really matters. If you notice, the big hose, it's a pretty good tight fit. It does not have a clamp on it, and it didn't from the factory. I might put a zip tie on there just for insurance purposes. This end did have a clamp on it, which I will put that on when I put the air intake back in. Let's do the little hose. I did not do a good job of taking pictures. Oh, it goes just like that. You can see how these pre-bent hoses are going to work a lot better, even though they're a lot more expensive than if you just went and got a roll of hose. And we'll stick this on here. Very nice. Now you see how that hose is pliable? Like this one's hard as a brick. Like you can't even hardly bend it. That's when you know you need some new hoses. And let's put our back hose on. Or our big hose on the driver's side. And it goes on this piece back here. No, it don't. You're messing up. You know, I was concerned about that thing coming off. It's tight. I don't think it's going nowhere. Let's try this again. Oh, there we go. Yeah, the little white mark on the end of that hose right here. It's just like the little white hose that goes right here. And look, it falls down. Beautiful. We'll put the air intake back on. We'll be ready to fire this thing up. There it is. Everything buttoned up. All the hoses, all the clips, all the plugs. All we have to do now is start it up and check for leaks. All right, in summary, these things ain't the most difficult thing to put on, but they're definitely not the easiest thing to put on. I would put it medium difficulty. Everything in that back passenger side corner sucks to do, but it is doable for a driveway mechanic. The fit and finish on those eBay aluminum valve covers are great. You know, sometimes when you buy stuff from eBay or some of that Chinese stuff, it's kind of, This seems to be a pretty good buy so far. If I don't ever make another video on them, you can kind of say that they're good. If they start sucking, I'll definitely make another video. So if you're watching this 3 years from now and I haven't made another video, we'll say they're pretty good. The vent hoses, just want to say, Z1 don't sponsor me. I'm a little guy, but I bought those hoses from Z1. Z1 Off-Road has a lot of factory parts for cheaper. You can get it at the Nissan dealer. So if you need something like that hose, it's got that certain bend in it that you can really only get at a Nissan dealer, Z1 will have it. I just fired this thing up. I checked for leaks. Didn't see any leaks, but I'm gonna go run it around for a week or so, and that'll tell the tale. It should be sealed up nicely. The next thing that's going on this Armada, it's almost summertime. I'm going to the beach. I'm gonna put an auxiliary transmission cooler in here. So that's gonna be the next video on this particular vehicle. I guess that pretty much sums it up. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that button for me. If I helped you with anything on this video, hit the like button. Like I always say, thanks for watching to the end. Thanks for stopping by. Come back and see me. Camera, stop wiggling. Oh, thank you for not sitting still.